I think you make a good point about the supplement industry, and that it's not regulated the way our foods and our drugs are, and I don't think people realize that. So, you know, particularly a smaller company, they can say this is what's in the product, but that's not necessarily in the product. Now, some of the bigger companies, I think they have a lot more to lose if they, you know, poison someone with, you know, something that isn't supposed to be in it. But you know, can you speak a little bit to the athletes? Because I know sometimes, you know, I'll send an athlete into a nutrition store and say, look for something with this, and then they come back with something completely different and be like, the guy in the thing said it was really good and I saw it on Ultimate Fighter. You know, can you speak a little bit to that on the risks that they're taking by, you know, consuming some of those products that sound a little too good to be true?
Right, so Canada does have a regulatory body for our natural health products. However, they license sort of the whole company or the whole product. They're not actually testing each product to see what's in it. So yes, the label might say one thing, but research has shown that usually what's inside of that product is something a little bit different. Something you want to look for that bigger companies can usually get is third-party testing. And you want to see that they have an accredited lab and that they are having third-party testing on their products. And really, when it comes to supplements, the simpler, the better. The more ingredients that are added, most of the times they don't have effects, and they're not added in doses that are high enough to have those effects.
So if we have an athlete that's going to have a supplement shake, because yeah, like ideally they're going to be having their whole food, but there are times when, you know, they're just busy or it's just not going to happen. So, you know, fine, if we're going to get the nutrients into them and it's going to be through a supplement shake, okay, let's do that. So what should they look for in that supplement shake? What are the sort of the key ingredients that it should have without the other stuff?
Well, you're right. Athletes are busy people, and I always say something is better than nothing. So key things that we want to look for, especially post whatever activity you're doing, we need to make sure we're getting in protein. Whey protein is quickly absorbed, so it's definitely the one you want to focus on. If you're vegetarian, there are some vegetable-based ones. They might not be as effective as whey. So in terms of whey protein, if you have any sort of lactose intolerance, then you definitely want to get an isolate. If you don't, getting a mix of the concentrate and the isolate is fine. You want to make sure that you're going with a good company that is third-party tested and that is clean. That's very, very important. The other thing you want to look for is making sure that you're getting carbohydrates in. So that's going to help replenish your glycogen stores. Getting maltodextrin is a great source to get in. For the ratio, you want to try to get about 20 to 30 grams of protein and about 100 grams of carbs, usually post-workout. So those are the key two things that you need to get in. There are some companies out there that are better than others. You can get a whey protein isolate and you can get a maltodextrin powder, mix it together. Doesn't taste so good. So one that I do recommend is the Rivalis Clean Gainer. It's a mix of whey protein, some other proteins. It has enough carbohydrates. It has some other things in there too that's going to help sustain your energy levels. But that company is third-party tested, and it is a fairly clean source.
And that's really important because you know, some of our athletes do get tested, you know, by their sport governing body, and sometimes I suggest too that they, you know, because a lot of athletes, they get caught and a lot of them say like, all they took was this, you know, protein powder. So Ivan will have them take just a scoop of it and put it in a Ziploc bag and write on the bag sort of the product, the lot number, the date, and just file it away, just, you know, in case anything comes back. But I'll also post a link to a website where you can go to check if your product that you use has been approved for consumption by International Anti-Doping Association. So I'll post that link down below. I guess the last thing I'll just ask is sort of something for the parents. You know, and even some of the adult athletes, you know, what are kind of the one or two biggest mistakes you think that adults and adult athletes make in their nutrition that kind of keeps them that 15 to 20 pounds overweight? You know, they're not obese, but it's something that's definitely slowing them down, and we probably would all like to get rid of. What do you see in your practice?
Definitely, there's a few things that really stick out. The first thing is liquid calories. Really, we don't need to be drinking juice. Even drinking milk, you know, where liquids don't fill us up the same as food does. It doesn't have the fiber. 1 cup of orange juice is equal to about 3 or 4 oranges. So it's easy to down 2 cups of orange juice in the morning. Would you eat 8 oranges? Probably not. Yeah. So liquid calories definitely, along with that would be alcohol intake. So beer, wine, things like that, in moderation can be good for you, but the calories add up. So watching that consumption. The next biggest thing is not eating enough. Skipping meals, especially during the day, being busy, you know, driving your kids around, working, not getting a great breakfast, maybe skipping lunch, and then overdoing it at night. Adults need to eat often as well, whether they're athletes or not. They need to get in breakfast, they need to get in lunch, and they probably need to get in a couple snacks so that they're not overeating at night.
Cool. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for stopping by to help get us straightened out on our nutrition today. I really appreciate it, and then tons of great information. So, you know, and even if there's a lot of information in here, but even if you take 1 or 2 strategies out of this conversation and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to work on that for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to, you know, get up and I'm going to have that good breakfast with protein and complex carbohydrate, and then make that part of your habit. And then the next, you know, move on to the next thing. Okay, the next thing, you know, I'm going to take that snack to school with me and have it in between classes. So once again, Lisa, thanks a million. This is Maria from hockeytrainingpro.com and goalietrainingpro.com. I'll see you next time.